Ha ha ha, yeah. It's the motherfucking demon himself, and we coming to you live with that old school real shit. Ha ha ha. You ain't doing it real like this, did you? Yeah, nigga. We gon' hit you with some old school shit, some good shit, some screw shit. Hit you with a little bit of history about the 666 in the mix, that be the motherfucking shit. That real Memphis. Nigga.
What you're listening to is a song participating in a long tradition. A tradition of combining fantastical elements, demonic and dark vocal chops and sounds to bring you into a whole new world. This tradition is rampant on the internet today, and once you go down this rabbit hole, there is no return. It's a world of cartoonish and ghoulish fun mixed with an all too real bleak reality. Drugs, sex, violence, despair, Satan, and all of hell's angels will be part of this journey. This movement has its roots in Memphis, where the gutter sound began and slowly but surely started to overcome hip-hop. Though not always front and center, it's always been in the background like the conniving evil that it is, steady influencing some of our darkest artists. First, to begin understanding it, we gotta go back. How far back? Way back. To the early days of the dark sound, which has its roots in Memphis,
Tennessee.
What happened last night? I don't know. Derek was beating in. What did he do? Poured lighter fluid on my keys. Lit him up while I was asleep.
In Memphis, you'll find a lot of things. Colorful cities, the originator of music genres such as blues, rock, and most importantly, for our case, Memphis rap. Memphis would blow up on the scene in the early 90s, and he came with a gutter, grimy sound that would take the hip-hop world by storm, at least at the time of the inception of Memphis rap. And this cruel, cold world gave birth to an equally cruel, cold genre. The sound would be ruled by low quality, griminess, a dirty and lo-fi sound, and hard-hitting drums with low-pitched vocal chops being played throughout the whole track in a hypnotic manner. The rappers' voices sounded demonic and full of menace. Some of the biggest artists from this scene include Tommy Wright III, 3-6 Mafia, DJ Squeaky, Kingpin Skinny Pimp, and the godfather of the whole scene, DJ Spanish Fly. But there were many, many, many more. The sound could range from dreamy, fantastical, spacious, trippy, to devilish and frantic. One minute you're in the highest euphoria, dazing and floating on a cloud, listening to a funky track, and the next moment you're sipping brew with Lucifer himself before pulling a drive-by on some unsuspecting ops. And right afterwards you hit up a crack house for some well-needed head from some off-the-hinges chick that gives the best sloppy toppy. This is the sound of Memphis, and it's a sound which will be perfected by the most notable of the scene, 3-6 Mafia. This dichotomic world of fancy and hell is what makes it so intriguing, and an accurate portrayal of the two sides of life and its overall chaotic nature. It's what makes Memphis. All these songs work to put you in that killer mood. When you listen to them, you're instantly transported in that world of Memphis, and you understand what they felt and what they go through and how they view the world. It's both terrifying and adrenaline filled. Let's take a further look into the production and flow and the lyrics of this region.
Crunk by onion weed. Don't you think you higher than the black? Till you stop at P. People got me going home. I'm blowing on Montana pack. Blood up put me under, but this is
a funky fat with a funky beat and a funky beat. Murder in the first degree for your whole on the valley. You came from your CC bitch on that creep like a fucking snake. Bad boat on my A strategy.
The Memphis sound was more otherworldly, dark, and cartoonish in some ways than the East Coast and the West Coast. While those regions had their sound steeped in a reality you could clearly understand and follow due to straightforward lyrics, tantalizing poetry, and understandable diction, the Memphis region barely had any of these traits. The harsh southern slang and speech made them hard to understand at times, and the lo-fi, distant, reverb vocals added to that factor. The production was harsh, and the lyrics weren't always poetic nor straightforward. Looking at the production, it could be very spacious, out of this world, and strange. It could have elements of a laid-back feel to it, most notably coming from the samples they would use, where it would feel like you're floating in the sky and you're on a trip itself. But then, there were other times when it became hella dark, which was due to the horror samples they would have in their music, which comprised of dark dialogue, like the ones at the beginning of almost all 3 6 Mafia albums, and pitched-down vocal chops.
They would also use synths which could be both dark
or fantasy-like and eerie, and dark piano melodies. Combine this with some crunchy, lo-fi, busy drums that comprise of punchy kicks, snares that smack you like your mama when you're in trouble, and dancing, busy hi-hats, you get a hellish sound that makes you feel like you're transforming into the Prince of Darkness himself. The lyrics cover many topics. These include violence, petty theft, robbery, insanity such as psychopathic tendencies, drug abuse, drug selling, murder, sex with dark ghetto succubi, Satan, and the occult. If one looks at a lot of the artwork that came out during that time and generally for the whole scene, you can see a very dark style with their art. 80s, 90s horror movie styled artwork like red skies with lightning bolts, crucifixes, pentagrams, the devil, the Grim Reaper, graveyards, and of course the infamous horror movie font styles were rampant in their album covers and photo shoots. All of these elements come together to provide a dark world you love to enjoy. A world filled with as much adrenaline as there is horror, or rather, those two things are intertwined with each other. You can't listen to a good Memphis song without feeling like you about to creep up on some slipping ass niggas, or that you in the middle of some trap house where thoughts are getting dogged out in the next room and there's 666 plastered all over the wall with pentagrams and shit, and there's the smell of crack being burnt, weed smoke, brown liquor, and beer pouring. The adrenaline comes from all of these things, and you know your end will not be good, but you don't care anyways. Your world is filled with nihilism and horror already, and you don't see anything better. So you strap in comfortably on this highway to hell. Like a necromancer reviving the dead, the Memphis sound has done the same thing to itself, being reborn over and over again in hip-hop and influencing so much of the hip-hop genre without people even knowing what's influencing them. The Memphis sound has been reborn in or influenced other genres like trill wave, cloud rap, and most notably nowadays,
that motherfucking funk.
Specific artists and groups include Space Ghost Perp and the Raider Clan, A$AP Rocky and the A$AP Mob, DJ Smokey, Studier, DJ Young Vamp, and Lost Century, who all use the vocal chops from the Memphis sounds heavily in their music and or utilize similar lyrical themes, subjects, and production sounds. The Memphis sound is a creepy one, and one thing that makes it creepy is how it keeps coming back. Like Freddy or Jason or Lovecraftian horror, it never really dies. It just keeps coming back. Every time you think it's finished, it's right around the corner waiting for you. And that's what adds the horror element to it, which is fitting for such a genre.
So go out there, my little devil children, and enjoy a nice Luciferian trip with the devilish Memphis sound. Yacob.